Hello and welcome to One Called Mama. I am your host, Samantha, and thank you for joining me today. This is our final episode of this season, and I am very excited about what will be coming in the next couple of seasons. Like I've mentioned before, our seasons are going to be a little shorter and they're going to be more intentional. And I'm very happy about this change. Before when I was starting out with this podcast, I didn't know what I was doing clearly. And as I have walked with the Lord and He has shown me what He wants it to become, I've loved seeing how He's changed it and how He's changed me, and also how He's changed the content. And I love that our seasons are more intentional, that they revolve around a certain topic. And I'm going to keep moving forward with that flow. And so at the end of this episode, I'll share what next season's topic will be about. But on the note of how this podcast has changed and my mission has kind of evolved, I think about in the beginning, I created this show intending it for mothers, mothers seeking their purpose, because that's what I knew. And recently, in the last couple of months, the Lord has shown me that He wants me to widen my audience, widen my focus to not just moms, but women who are seeking their purpose. It seems like a really small shift, but actually, it's a pretty big shift. And I feel like the Lord has a message for all women. Now, that being said, tonight's topic is going to contradict this a little, but I think it'll make sense. At least I hope it will. I was praying and I asked the Lord to show me what tonight's episode should be about. And with it being the last episode of the season, you would hope that it would kind of cap off the season well. I was reflecting on some things that have happened the last couple of months. And I remembered that at the 414 conference, there was a moment where one of the speakers said that the Lord wanted to birth new things in the women in that room and the Esthers in that room, because it was the Esther Rising Conference, 414 conference. And I remembered something that the Lord had told me, which I think it's been about 2 years now. He told me that I was a mother of many. And I think in the moment when I heard that phrase, I wanted to equate that to physically, I would be a mother of many. And I know now that that's not the case, because the Lord also told me last year in the fall that we weren't going to be growing our family. He didn't really have that for us. Now, I have off and on played around with the idea of sharing this with y'all. It's hard to talk about sometimes, not because, for a couple of different reasons. I know I'm kind of scattered, but for one, there's always the possibility that I could have gotten that wrong. I don't think I did, but I imagine how foolish I would feel if I did get pregnant and I had shared that I felt the Lord told us that we weren't going to have any more kids. I feel very strongly that He did confirm this for me, and it was very painful. After losing my father, I very much wanted to have another child. I wanted to try. And it was in that space that He told me that we weren't going to have any more kids. And I have struggled with this off and on. And I have made my peace with it. It's been difficult. It has its difficult moments. But He recalled to me the memory of being at the conference and reminded me of that phrase, mother of many. And I think what that means for me is that I'm a mother, yes. However, I'm also a mother is so much more than what physically happens to a woman. It's more than carrying a child. A mother is a woman who nurtures. A mother is a woman who gives life to others through her words, through her actions. And I think mother of many is really for all of us. I think we can be mothers in that we disciple other women. And I think really that's what that meant for me when the Lord spoke those words to me, that it was about me discipling women, helping them in their walk with Christ and being that person that is safe, that can listen and direct them, connect them to other women of faith who can come alongside them. And I have seen this play out so beautifully in the last couple of months. And it's funny, I didn't know what I was going to talk about this week. Like I said, I asked the Lord to show me. And as I'm sharing this with y'all, these things are realizations for me as I talk about them. And I know it's kind of messy the way it's coming out, but that's because it's kind of new for me too. When I think about where I was and where this show started, and that it was focused on moms, and now that the Lord has shifted it to focusing on women seeking their purpose, and then reminding me of the phrase mother of many, it's just so perfect. The timing on this is so right. We can get caught up believing that motherhood is something physical, it's something biological, and it's not contained just to that. We birth ministries, we birth creations, projects, passion projects like books and songs and plays and music, and then we birth businesses and we become CEOs of our own businesses, and we lead others. That's motherhood. It's realizing that we have life in us that the Lord wants to put out into the world, and releasing that to the world to glorify Him and to honor Him and to help other women wherever they are at whatever stage in life. And it really just doesn't matter. And I want to say that because it's so easy, I think, for us to make assumptions about how someone got to where they are, or that we could um, think we know their story, or that there's no mercy in understanding how they maybe got to where they are, or the experiences and the things that they've gone through. And I just think that we have to be so careful, so cautious. It's not our place to pass any sort of judgment on another person's experience. It is our place and our responsibility to love them and to encourage them to move forward from that, and to show them how loved they are, how valuable they are. I know my own mistakes in my own past, and I'm so glad the Lord saved me from it, redeemed me from it. And if you're out there listening and maybe you are single, or maybe you are married, you either want to be a mother or you are currently trying and haven't had any success yet. Maybe you're someone who has struggled with infertility for a very long time, and this topic is very hard for you. I want to encourage you, and I want you to know that you're seen not just by me, but you're seen by the Lord. He knows. He knows your heart's desire. And just like how I know He wants to do a work in me, He wants to fulfill His plans through me. And that if I had a newborn or if I was pregnant, I more than likely couldn't fulfill them. And so my sacrifice is that I accept that I'm not supposed to have any more kids. It was very difficult for me to give up my desire to have a big family because I desired a big family. And when the Lord made it plain to me that that wasn't part of His plan for us, nor was adoption, it was very hard to accept that. So even though I can't understand what you're going through, if you're someone out there struggling with infertility, what I want you to hear is that even though that is a huge sacrifice and that is extremely difficult, that unmet desire, whether it's temporary or it is his part of his purpose for you, that there is a plan and there is something so great that he wants to do through you. And that regardless of whether you bear children or not, that you are a mother already. He has provided and will provide opportunities for you to disciple and encourage other women, to speak life to them. And I just feel so strongly that he wants everyone listening to understand that you are a mother and that he wants to create life through you by working with you and fulfilling the purpose he has for you through you. And I know it might sound odd, and I may not be saying this very well because it feels odd to say, but I believe this. And when I talk about this to other women, they were like, yeah, I believe all women have this nurturing in them, that they are mothers. And I'm like, yes, they are. They are, because that's the way the Lord created them. He created them to nurture and to inspire and to speak life. Uh, he wants that for all of us. I just feel very strongly this is what I'm supposed to share. And I hope I'm doing it justice. And I say it with love and I say it with humility. And hopefully you can hear that, especially if you're hurting, especially if this is difficult to hear. I know that there is a belief that the Lord wants all women to bear children. He wants that is part of his plan for everyone. I would like to challenge that line of thinking because I've heard so many testimonies of women who, couples who couldn't get pregnant and then they decided to adopt. And then the moment they adopted, they conceived. It's not everyone's story that would happen. In fact, I had a woman on the show share her story, and she and her husband were never able to conceive. But adoption is very much something that the Lord wants his people to take part in. And there are children everywhere who are in need of families. And it might be that your story of infertility is actually your adoption story or your fostering story. And it's something to consider, something to meet him in prayer in and seek his answer on. I think sometimes we can get so focused on our heart's desire that we forget to actually ask what his desire for us is. And it's hard when his desire is not what we want and his plan is not our plan. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong about wanting a child, but it is my belief that is not always part of the Lord's plan. And that is difficult for many to hear. And if that is you, I want you to know that my heart aches for you. I understand that me having had my own children and discussing this topic could seem insensitive and like I don't really know what I'm talking about. All I know is that this was what was on my heart to share. And it's okay if it's hard to hear, and it's okay if you get mad at me. That's part of the process sometimes. But if you need someone to discuss this with you or someone to pray with you as you're wrestling through this with the Lord, I will always pray with you because I know that this is not easy. So next season, we are going to hear from a lovely woman of God, and she's going to share her testimony. And it's going to be all about redemption, all about the Lord's redemption and how he has redeemed these difficult situations in her life. And I'm very am very glad the Lord brought us together. I did an event last Christmas, and she was another vendor there, and we met, and it was a God thing. And she reached out to me several months later and said, "Okay, I want to be on the show." And because I invited her to share her story, and she was hesitant at first, but had some time to think about it and decided to do it. So I'm very excited to have her on, and I'm very glad she's agreed. So that will be next season, season 9. And that will be sometime in June. I don't have a hard date yet, but I will soon enough. So watch my socials, and you'll find out the date that will be airing then. In the meantime, you can always reach out to me at onecalledmama@gmail.com. You can always find me on Facebook, Instagram, and you can always catch up on my episodes over on YouTube. You can also listen to my other podcasts there. I hope you all have an amazing month of May, and I will be seeing you next month. Have a wonderful night.